Sorry, I'm running a little bit behind there. I keep forgetting this clock. That's the only downfall. The one thing I don't like about my Jeep is the clock never keeps time. It slowly loses a minute or so every now and then over time. And it's just the way the timing crystal or whatever it is they have in the system is. It's all you got to do is every now and then you hit a couple buttons and it's fine. But I can't stand AI reconstructions anymore. I just saw an AI reconstruction of a case where they did it as a short clip, to get it on the clips thing, the reels or whatever. And it got the facts of the case completely wrong, even though it had the suspect sitting there. And then it had the courtroom stuff was all fake because it didn't look even remotely like the court that was in this case. But the case was 3 teenagers broke into a house. All 3 were armed because they knew there was an old man living there and they knew he was going to be alone. They broke into the house. He catches them. They start wailing the piss out of him. And he pulls his gun and shoots. Now, if I remember the actual fact of the case, all 3 are dead. But he gets sued by the parents because 2 of the children were brothers for $1 million, claiming he had no right to defend his life in his own home. Now, the clips I saw claimed it was BB guns they were holding, and I'm like, no, because I think if I remember the actual case, yes, these three teenagers were armed. You don't think they went downtown and bought those at the local gun show, do you? That's why I say it's kind of weird how the Second Amendment thing, it's a very iffy prospect here in America, because a lot of people are like, well, if we got rid of all the guns, all the trouble, like, if we banned guns, everything would be fine. I'm like, no, because they'd still be buying them off the backs of trucks in the inner cities. They just get more expensive. See, that's the sad fact of the matter. Prohibition has never worked on anything. It took them how many years with alcoholism, what do you call it? When they passed prohibition against alcohol, look how long that lasted. Now you got guys running, booze. As a matter of fact, there's entire fortunes that were based off bootlegging. So I die laughing, like Joe Kennedy was made at the beginning of his fortune was made off bootlegging. So it's kind of a weird world we live in. That's how they should have known by now the war on drugs isn't going to work. Because it didn't work for alcohol, it ain't going to work for that. Oh. But there's a lot of people in a lot of places and a lot of back rooms who've built entire fortunes off their little dips into that money. That's why it don't go away. Okay, yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, I didn't want to really talk about it because all we have is this. Paul McGann is apparently not going to be, I think, at Galley 1. I think it was. I saw the announcement. And then apparently he allegedly has been seen over at Bad Wolf. Guys, I'd love to say something's going on. I really hope it is. I'm not kidding. I'm not going to lie to you. I would love to see Paul McGann finally get his own whole freaking episode on the air, other than the movie, rather than 7-minute, thing to introduce the War Doctor, which I don't have anything against John Hurt or anything, but Paul McGann should have been the War Doctor. So every time Paul McGann does appear, even in the little bits he has, I've always been, amazed and happy because, come on, give credit where credit is due. If it weren't for this guy, and that 96 movie, to carry us over through that time. And I'm kind of glad, I will admit, I'm glad the 96 series did not happen, because when you look at the storyline they were going to follow, you think they're having a shit fit about the timeless children and all that now. Gosh, they'd have been, this is before social media. There might have been pitchforks and flaming torches and, burning TARDIS effigies on the BBC's lawn. Oh my God. It's like, yeah, I'm really hoping it's true, but I don't want to get my hopes up. That's why I really was kind of going to avoid talking about it, because we've seen shit like this before, where such and such is canceled on a con, such and such has been seen somewhere, and most of the time it doesn't add up to anything. I didn't want to bring up the whole BBC resignation thing because I've seen the edit. Here's the thing. I'm going to tell you this right now. I don't give a hell who's in office. I don't. I'm not a Republican and I'm not a Democrat. I'm not an independent. I just don't care anymore. Because the person who's sitting in your Oval Office is a puppet on the end of a string from somebody in corporate America. And that's about it. And sooner people wake up and realize their government was bought and paid for a long time ago, the better off you'll be. But yes, they did edit Trump's speech, and I saw the edit, and I'm like, this was just blatant. I don't want to have to defend the guy, but in this case, yeah, he's justified. Karen Gillan and Arthur Darville, how long is that going to last? Come on, they both got active careers. Yeah, I heard they're doing another Jumanji movie. Like I said, I hope it's good. Like I said, I've enjoyed the first two. I just hope they don't overdo it, Because it does get to a point after a while that it stops being a miraculous, happy, adventure ride to you're standing on the side of the road beating the dead horse. Okay, it can't happen. So I hope it all goes well, because I enjoyed the first two Jumanji movies. Yeah, I know about Sophie's podcast. I heard about that. And some of the Series 15 deleted scenes are out. Okay, here's the truth. I'm kind of locked out. Well, I can still get on the Facebook on my phone and my tablet, but something's going on with one of my security programs where I can't access my bookmarks on Firefox. First time in like 30, I think more than 30 years of using Firefox, I've had this happen. So, but then again, I've been using CCleaner for years, then they updated the latest version and turned it into a piece of shit. Ugh. I kind of want to, write them an email and say, guys, can I just go back to the previous version that didn't suck? Ugh. Kind of like when they said, okay, I can upgrade my video pad. And I loved using video pad editing software, and I lost touch with that a long time ago, but this was my previous system. And then they were going to charge me the same price I paid for the program for an upgrade. And I literally got a link from them to go back to my old version, because I was like, I'm not paying you for, every time this program upgrades. That's just a ripoff. I have no problem with the program I was using right now. Yeah. Kind of like Fallout 4. They did the updated anniversary edition, and once again, they broke it. Ugh. It just seems to me like they're deliberately breaking it, because it's funny how the last time they broke it with an update, it just happened to be a few days before Fallout London came out, which was a fan-made production that relied completely on one particular mod that Fallout 4, the Bethesda guys, just happened to magically screw up when they updated 3 days before. Coincidence? Ugh. But yeah, now it's Wednesday, and I'm glad the veterans had their day. I forgot to put up a happy Veterans Day thing because I was fighting with my system over what happened to that bookmark file. I know the bookmark file's there. I have an eerie feeling it was probably accidentally quarantined I'm just going to have to go under the software settings on either AVG or what you call it, unquarantine it. It might have mistook a bookmark file for a Trojan or something like that. It happens. But I'm not sure if I want Netflix to do Mr. Bean or HBO to do Mr. Bean, because it might turn into a Game of Thrones type deal. Mr. Bean, your lance is so... Okay, Well, Fallout 4 has been out for years. It's just they wanted to do an updated... The thing is, to this year, and I agree with a lot of fans, this year would have been the perfect time for them to do a remastered Fallout New Vegas, especially with your TV shows going to New Vegas, and everyone and their grandmother wants to see that. And a lot of people are getting back into Fallout again because of the TV show. And a lot of people who've never played the games are getting into it because of the TV show. And a lot of it's going to be based off New Vegas. And yes, the New Vegas fans have still not stopped bitching. Ugh. It's like, guys, Bethesda don't care what your character did in that situation. Obsidian created Fallout New Vegas, if I remember right. Or they did the game, and I think Bethesda still owned it at that point. I can't remember how it works out, but Bethesda don't give a shit about what Obsidian did in their game. They were all jumping for joy when they're saying New Vegas. I got a bunch of them going, and again, you've had a bunch of them from the beginning saying it was going to suck. You know, the typical crowd. And then even though the show knocked it out of the park as far as, you know, the game lore, the characters, and everything. Oh my God, it's like, please. Take a bunch of these guys, put them on an oil rig out in the middle of nowhere and say, okay, tell you what, we're going to give you food, supplies, everything, water. You can live in your own little world, but but after the first few rations hit, you're going to have to figure out how you're feeding yourself. No, it wouldn't work. Most of these guys can't even get out of their chair, let alone plant a crop. Not to mention, let alone go fishing, actual fishing outside of a video game. I can see that now, them sitting on the pier with their little Xbox controller. How come the fish ain't coming? I keep hitting this button, you know. How come I ain't catching any fish? Yeah, most of them think crop is a function on your phone. That's right. Or on their new AI fangled software they're making video memes with. And I love this. Entire channels of AI garbage. Oh, man. Some of the things I've seen that are AI generated. Like I said, the one thing to look for is when they're talking about lead, it always gets pronounced lead. And that right there's a dead giveaway that it's an AI video. He was buried in his lead coffin. And blah, blah. And lead can be very heavy. I'm like, oh, well. But the thing is, the most is I hate it when we get days off in the middle of the week because it throws off my entire biorhythm. You know? Like, normally they would reschedule Veterans Day to the Monday or the Friday of that week. But I can't, like I said, it's the veterans, it's their day. I guess they were the ones who said, look, we don't want to move it anymore. So, hey, it's their day. Let them do what they want with it. But still, I would have preferred that the 3-day weekend than one day off in the middle of the week because it throws everything off. Oh. Yep, if anything, AI is going to cause more lawsuits than anyone will be able to count. Look, I got my AI generated dude of Jenna Coleman. Oh, goodness gracious. Why do you think a lot of actresses are getting tattoos now? Because they know what's coming. So they can go, yep, that ain't me. uh, I had a barcode, done as a tramp stamp just in case of things like this. And they see my barcode ain't on it. Oh, crazy, crazy world we live in, folks. Well, I got to get inside, so please take care of yourselves. Be kind, be calm, be safe. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'm hoping the Paul McGann thing does pan out to be something. I really, really do. Given they got a chance here, that they're kind of between doctors, whether they like it or not. Maybe they'll do something with Paul McGann that bring things around or over. I'm really hoping so, because Paul never gets enough, respect as far as I'm concerned for Doctor Who. Why not? Black Phoenix, guess what? There's already a bunch of those channels out there. They're completely AI generated. And they're making money. Because a lot of guys don't know and don't care. We are simple-minded, us guys. Oh, well. Take care, everyone. We'll see you all tomorrow. I got to get inside. Have a good one.